The French Revolution stands as one of history's most transformative events, beginning with the dramatic storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789. This medieval fortress-turned-prison became the flashpoint that ignited a decade of radical change, bloodshed, and the birth of modern democracy. The revolution would fundamentally reshape not just France, but influence political thought and social movements worldwide for centuries to come. Pre-revolutionary France was a powder keg waiting to explode. Despite being Europe's most populous and powerful nation, France faced a devastating financial crisis. King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette lived in opulent luxury at Versailles, while most citizens struggled to survive. The rigid social structure divided society into three estates: the tax-exempt clergy, First Estate, and nobility, Second Estate, who owned 35% of the land, and the Third Estate, 98% of the population, who carried the tax burden but held virtually no political power. The American Revolution had left France deeply in debt, and attempts to raise taxes met fierce resistance from the privileged classes. This financial crisis forced Louis XVI to convene the Estates General in 1789, an assembly that hadn't met since 1614. When the Third Estate's demand for proportional voting was rejected, they broke away to form the National Assembly, vowing to create a new constitution. This bold move represented the first major challenge to royal authority. The king's response, surrounding Paris with troops, backfired spectacularly. Parisians, interpreting this as a threat, stormed the Bastille. This watershed moment sparked widespread revolt, with peasants rising against their landlords in what became known as the Great Fear. The National Assembly responded by abolishing feudalism and issuing the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, proclaiming all men free and equal. This declaration would become one of the revolution's most enduring legacies, influencing human rights declarations worldwide. Events accelerated rapidly. By 1791, France had become a constitutional monarchy, but the king's reluctance to embrace reform and the outbreak of war with Austria and Prussia led to further radicalization. In 1792, militants stormed the Tuileries Palace, forcing the royal family to seek protection in the Legislative Assembly. The monarchy was suspended, and France declared itself a republic, marking a radical break with centuries of monarchical rule. The radical Jacobins, led by Maximilien Robespierre, gained control of the new National Convention. After Louis XVI's execution in January 1793, France found itself at war with most of Europe. The Committee of Public Safety was created with extraordinary powers to defend the revolution, ushering in the infamous Reign of Terror. This period demonstrated how revolutionary idealism could transform into authoritarian control in the name of protecting the revolution. From 1793 to 1794, thousands were executed as suspected counter-revolutionaries. The terror wasn't just about elimination. It attempted to remake society itself, replacing Christianity with the cult of reason and introducing a new revolutionary calendar. The government sought to create a new culture based entirely on revolutionary principles, affecting everything from education to art and literature. However, the violence eventually consumed its own architects. Robespierre himself fell victim to the guillotine in July 1794, marking the end of the terror's most extreme phase. The revolution's final years saw the establishment of the Directory in 1795, but this government proved weak and corrupt. Despite attempts at maintaining revolutionary principles, the Directory failed to address France's ongoing economic and social problems. In 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte seized power in a coup d'état, effectively ending the revolutionary period but spreading its ideals across Europe through his subsequent conquests. The French Revolution's legacy is profound and complex. It destroyed feudalism, established religious freedom, and created a more egalitarian society. The revolutionary principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity inspired political movements worldwide and shaped modern concepts of democracy and human rights. The revolution introduced new political concepts like popular sovereignty and citizenship, while also establishing the precedent for modern nation-states. However, the revolution's dark side, the terror's bloodshed, and the ease with which idealistic reform descended into tyranny, serves as a cautionary tale about radical change. The revolution created deep societal divisions in France that persisted for generations. The violent suppression of counter-revolutionary movements, particularly in the Vendée region, left scars that would take centuries to heal. This pivotal period teaches crucial lessons about political transformation. It demonstrates that true revolutions reshape entire societies, not just governments. The importance of leadership and organization becomes clear through the revolutionaries' struggle to establish stable governance. The power of ideas is evident in how revolutionary ideals motivated action and shaped events, while also showing how these same ideals could be used to justify violence and repression. The revolution also highlights the vital role of compromise in political change. The terror's extremism proved self-destructive, teaching survivors that lasting change requires patience and moderation. These lessons remain relevant today as societies continue to grapple with questions of freedom, equality, and justice. The revolution's impact on modern political thought cannot be overstated, as it established many of the political concepts and ideologies that continue to shape global politics. The French Revolution's story is fundamentally human, a tale of courage, idealism, violence, and tragedy. It reminds us that history isn't just about dates and events, but about people making choices that shape the future. The revolutionary spirit that inspired citizens to storm the Bastille continues to inspire those fighting for a better world today, making this not just a story about the past, but an ongoing dialogue about human potential for change and the complex path to social progress. The revolution's influence extends far beyond France's borders. It sparked similar movements across Europe and the Americas, contributing to the decline of absolute monarchies and the rise of republican governments. The revolutionary wars that followed would reshape the European continent and establish new patterns of international relations. Even today, the revolution's principles and symbols continue to inspire movements for democratic change and social justice worldwide.